Habits, by definition, are automatic behaviors. The entire goal of habit formation is to make something happen without effort, without thinking. The question is, are good habits a myth? Think about it. Of all the things you do, which behaviors are automatic and thoughtless? Probably not the good ones. For me, I don't have to think about things like snacking when I'm at home. I don't have to think about watching YouTube videos when I'm trying to get something done. I don't have to think about responding poorly to an email full of bad news. Come to think of it, I can't really think of a single behavior that has become automatic and is good for me. Habits are simply automatic behavioral patterns, things you do over and over again without thinking about it. It's tempting to think that if we can automate bad behavior, surely we could automate good behavior. Wouldn't life be simple if we could automatically go to the gym, eat well, and respond kindly to people even when they're not being kindly to us? Good habits promise a way to automate being our best selves so we can be happy, healthy, and at peace without having to think about it. But maybe we have it all backwards. Most of the behaviors that can have a positive impact on our lives require more attention and not less. The less we pay attention to our work, the more likely we are to burn out, work on the wrong things, neglect our relationships. The less we pay attention to our physical fitness, the more likely we are to injure ourselves. The less we pay attention to our mental fitness, the more likely we are to succumb to the lesser angels of our nature. Seen in this light, habits seem less and less like a workable strategy for the behavior change we want to see in our lives. This is why rituals play a central role in the bullet journal method. We use rituals to slow down and reflect on what we're thinking, feeling, doing, and experiencing to help us reconnect with our purpose and refine the process. This is the fundamental difference between habits and rituals. Both have structure, but habits focus on making behaviors more mindless, whereas rituals focus on making behaviors more mindful. What is mindful behavior? Mindful behavior is behavior that brings you into the present moment and helps you align your actions with your values. But how do you create an effective ritual? To make a ritual feel meaningful, we need to get clear on our why. It's the story that infuses our ritual with purpose. Why are you doing this? For your kids, for your parents, for your partner, for your health, for your mental health? What makes this ritual feel meaningful? This sets the foundation. To make a ritual mindful, we have to think about not what we have to do, but how we do those things. It's about figuring out how to be more present and focused while we act. If you have a ritual of talking with your significant other daily, how good will that be if the conversation is automated? The quality of the action itself is the point, not removing engagement from it. Next is measurable. Because our rituals serve a purpose, we want to make sure that we are making some progress towards that purpose. Even if your ritual is to help you get rest, you want to make sure that you have some way of tracking that you are in fact getting more rest. Otherwise, the ritual will feel like a waste of time, which brings us to the last part, manageable. When we hear the word rituals, it may conjure some very elaborate images of ceremonies, and that's all fine and good. But when it comes to personal rituals, the key is to create ones that are sustainable, if not enjoyable, through small intentional actions or rites. Here's an example from an old morning ritual from my daily life. The power of this ritual is the why. Why do I do this? To better show up for those I love and serve. The first rite is to turn on the heat. Why do I do that? Because my partner is always cold, and by turning on the heat, it shows her that I care. She doesn't have to ask me. Next, I put on the coffee. At the time, I didn't drink coffee, but my partner does. I just did this for her to show her that I care. And while it brewed, then I would do yoga. And I did yoga to work out not my body, but my mind. When I don't work out, I'm distracted. I incorporated the following. My yoga mat, this was a gift, and each time I unroll it, it reminds me that I'm loved. I play a certain playlist, and that would remind me that it's time to shift my state. There's what happened before and what's going to happen after, but right now I am here. I'd also burn some incense. I burn it from a kintsugi burner a friend of mine made for me. It reminds me that I don't have to show up perfect. It's that the showing up is all that matters. The incense itself functions as a visual timer as it burns for roughly 30 minutes. So that's how long my practice was for. Then I conclude that practice with meditation. I practice accepting the discomfort of doing nothing, which is intense for me. This allows me to go from a reactive state to a responsive state, to show up better. It's my way of practicing not reacting over and over again. The last part of this ritual is the reset. That would start with me rolling up my mat and thank my past self for getting me here. I clean up the place for my future self so they can work in a clutter-free environment because I know for sure that's important to them. This allows me to experience the value of treating myself like a friend, which is another practice that I think is incredibly important. More on that in a different video. Next, bullet journaling to set up my daily log during my morning reflection. This helps me to declutter my mind and help me clarify my thoughts, come up with a plan for the day. I take this time to jot down my thoughts and ideas and set my priority for the day. Last but not least is to shower. This is my transition rite. The day so far has been dedicated to my inner world. Now it's time to focus on the world around me. A simple way to prepare is to show up clean. To me, hygiene demonstrates not only respect for other people, but also for yourself. Okay, let's summarize all this. Habits serve to make our actions more mindless. Rituals can serve to make our actions more mindful. Don't rob yourself of the joy of the process because you will spend most of your life in the process of making any kind of meaningful change. A ritual elevates mundane behaviors by integrating them into a meaningful narrative that you've determined. Your rituals are the embodiment of that narrative. Your rituals serve to help you live the story you want to live. As always, thank you for taking the time. See you in the next one. Happy bullet journaling.